This is Juniper or Eastern Red Cedar. We had a frost last night, so this is ready to harvest right now. I want to show you a fun project you can do with your whole family in the winter. So this is something you could literally do all winter. This tree is loaded with vitamin C, so we're going to make a vitamin C tea, and I'm going to show you how to make smoked water so that you can use that water to make a smoked tea with any of your favorite blends. It's also, we're going to make oil that's going to smell like liquid Christmas. It's wonderful for any kind of dry skin. It's good for dry nose, little spots on your skin. It's got anti-tumor, anti-cancer compounds. It's nice for routine breast massage. It's nice just to relax. We're going to do upper respiratory steam. We're going to do a facial steam, all with this tree. I also want to show you what the modified leaves look like through a jeweler's loupe. So we're going to do that next. This is called a jeweler's loupe, and my friend Sarah at Scorpio Rising Botanicals makes these. I have probably bought 7 of them because people fall in love with them, and I give them away. So what this does is it magnifies the view by 10, and it opens up an entire new world. It's amazing. I want to show you that these leaves of the juniper are not needles like on the pine. They're actually modified folded leaves. Pine is amazing to use too, and anything I talk about here you can use for pine, but today we're using juniper. So as you can see, this is a modified leaf. It's not actually a needle like the pine, and it's like a braided leaf, and this jeweler's loupe makes it really easy to see. I'm going to go ahead and trim up a few leaves for tea and also so we can make smoke. So what I want to do is, it's about a handful per cup, and there's 2 of us because the photographer and I, who is our farm manager, Aisho, is going to enjoy some tea. So about 2 handfuls, so that's 1. Oh, it smells good already. Oh, it smells so good. And 2. Now we want a nice juicy branch for the smoke, and we have a tiny fire because it's, you know, we don't have a lot to make. So I'm going to make 1 snip for the smoke. Let's maybe do 1 more. You know, I want to also show you, this is a male tree. Can you see the little pollen tips on the edge?
Yes.
And I also want to show you, this is cedar apple rust. This is going to turn into orange octopus. It's going to have these gooey tentacles that hang down a little bit later in the year, and that's what gets the rust on the apples. So I just want to show you that. All right, let's 1 more big juicy branch for the smoke. All right, that should do. And let's go build a fire. So Aisho's building a little fire. So I like to do 2 blocks high because it just gives you a little bit more hand room. And on top of the grate, we have our pot of water. So we've got the fire started, and notice I have a barbecue safe fire grate. Don't use a grate from like shelving or refrigerator. The fire will break it down and all your stuff will collapse into the fire. Ask me how I know. I lost an entire canning pot full of tomatoes that way. So we went ahead and put the water in the pot already. It's on the grate warming, and we built the fire. We're letting it calm down just a little bit, and as soon as we're ready, what we'll do is we'll add the branch to the fire and get the lid off. So let me grab a cloth real quick to get the lid off. And I will add a branch. And it's going to be super smoky. And so we step back until it stops smoking, and all that smoke is going to go into the water. So our smoke has died down, our water's already hot. I've got the leaves snipped up, so I'm going to just throw it in there. Now, vitamin C is going to escape in the steam, 3 to 5 minutes tops. I've seen natural videos where people are out in the woods, raging fire, raging pot of boiling water, uncovered. They're throwing the needles in and they steep it for 30 minutes. That's way too much time. All the vitamin C is gone. You're left with nothing but tannins at that point. So we're going to let this sit for about 5 minutes and have a cup. So this is our farm manager, intern Aisho. He's also the cameraman today. So it's been about 3 minutes. We're gonna go ahead and take the water off the fire. And what I like to do is, I have a quart jar with a canning funnel and a little towel. And I do want to show off my tea towel by Lewd linens. It says, come back with a warrant. Can you see that? I love her stuff. Her tea towels are hilarious. All right, so we'll just, whoops, pour it right in there.
Excited to see a proper cup of cedar tea.
Yeah, you probably only had some that tasted like the inside of a banana peel.
Yep, I did. And that's exactly what every single one tasted like. So, this is exciting.
I got a little bit of a smoky eye punch earlier, so my eyes are very watery. All right. And actually, if you're out in the woods, if you're out camping, you don't need this whole setup. If you leave the pieces big enough and you're drinking the tea, your teeth can just filter it out. So we'll set this to the side. Oh, I made a lot more than I thought I did. Goodness. All right. So now we're going to have some tea. We're going to put a little bit of ghee in it and a little bit of honey. All right, go. These are my beautiful little cups from Mulberry Mudd. She made these for me. This one's plantain, and I think that one's spring beauty. It's kind of hard to see, but they're so pretty. I call these my magic cups. And what's the rule with the magic cups?
Be super careful with them, because if you break them,
Yeah. Don't take them outside.
It is the gravest mistake.
It is the gravest mistake. All right. All right. Man hands, please. All right. I'm going to get you a little honey. I'm just going to use a little bit of organic ghee. Bloop. Hope fingers are okay. We're wildlings out here. We don't care.
The more dirt, the better.
The more dirt, the better. Dirt can't hurt.
No, never.
Well, plus you get your B vitamins that way. All right. And what is it you always say?
Skull.
Skull. All right.
The moment of truth.
Thank you, Rebecca, for making these beautiful cups.
Wow. That is really good.
Mm-hmm. It's very subtle.
Yeah.
No tannins. Doesn't taste too smoky. A little bit of smoke. We had so much wind today. Normally the smoke curls up and goes into the pot, but the smoke was just blowing all over the place today. But it still has a hint of smoke.
Yeah, I still taste it a little.
Mm-hmm. So you can use this smoky water for any tea. This is so nice. What a beautiful day. This would be a great thing to do outside with the kids, just in your yard during the winter when you're bored. All winter for pine or juniper. I did notice when I was in Oregon when it was super, super cold, the leaves are incredibly sticky, and it like a minute or two in and out of the water, because otherwise it was overpowering. But this is a very subtle tea and a very nice vitamin C drink.
I concur with that statement. Thank you. Daisy approves.
The reason we work with juniper in the winter is because in the winter it's loaded with vitamin C, because the trees get rid of as much water as possible to avoid the ice crystals forming and damaging the cells. And what's amazing is it increases the vitamin C, it increases the essential oil, and something called cryoprotectants, which lower the freezing point of water so that the ice crystals don't form and damage the cells. So the vitamin C increases to help keep the tree from over photosynthesizing at this time. And it acts as an antioxidant, which is what it does for us as well. So that's the reason we want to use this tree in the winter. We did a test one time, and we weighed out exactly the amount of modified leaves that we harvested in the summer and in the winter. And in the winter we got 6 times the amount of essential oils from the same tree, from the cedar tree or juniper tree. And it was this beautiful deep red. When we ran it in the summer, it was more of a green color. In the winter, it was a deep red. So I want to really encourage you to use this tree in the winter. And we have 2 or 3 more frosts coming, so you still have a little bit of time to get out there and play with making your teas. Now let's go make some infused oil. So we're back at the juniper. It's warmed up a little bit this afternoon. It's feeling really good. You don't have to be too particular when you're cutting these. I usually don't worry about getting the little branchlets or stemlets. It's fine. So we're going to go ahead, and I harvested some earlier. We're going to go ahead and just snip them up. Kind of look for anything dead to pull off. Like here's some kind of gross, dead needles, maybe some little bugs or something like that. And that's the difference from buying from a small herbalist, any herbalist, not just me, as opposed to buying from a bigger company. Any big company that's buying hundreds, thousands of pounds of herbs, it's going to be mechanically harvested. And they're not as particular about the plant material. So we're going to snip this up real tiny. Let's see if I can do this here. So I've got my jar, and I kind of wanted to show you how I strain it. So let me get this out of the way. Let's see if this will fit in there. See if we can get this. Usually I would have a bowl. So you snip this up. Oh, my snippers are dull. And what you want is about 3/4 full, and I lost the spring so it's not popping back open. About 3/4 full. I'm not too particular about the little stemlets. And now I'm just filling this right now to measure it. So you want to do about 3/4, and then pour this out on a cookie sheet and let it air dry for a couple days. It's very important when you're making oils to not have moisture in the oil because it'll tend to mold. Now if you're making alcohol extract or vinegar extract, it doesn't matter as much, but for oil extracts, for oil infusions, it's really important to have the driest plant material possible. As we learned earlier, these leaves don't have very much water in them right now. So a day or 2 on the counter should be fine. If it's summertime and you're making oils with something super juicy like violet leaves or something like that, you really want to consider water content. Plantain, things like that. You don't necessarily need them bone dry for a tea, but you want it as dry as possible. So what I would do is lay this out, let it air dry, then come back and fill it to the tippy top with I like sunflower seed oil because then I can use it on my face. A lot of herbalists use olive oil, but I probably wouldn't put olive oil on my face. So you come back, you fill it up to the very top with your oil, and you want to fill it up as close to the top as possible because you don't want air in there. Air has moisture, and moisture tends to want to mold. And then you label it and you date it for 6 weeks out. I have a label on the front and a label on the top because oils have a tendency to want to weep out of glass. So you're going to want to keep this on maybe a wood counter or a piece of cardboard. And I keep a label on the top just as a backup. It's on the side so that I can read it, but if the oil weeps out and it fades the label, this is my backup as to what it is. So the date is for 6 weeks out, and I have the type of oil. I have called Sun, which is sunflower seed oil. And then you strain it in 6 weeks. What I like to do is get a typical canning funnel. Now, for the oils only, I use unbleached coffee filters and clothespins. So you're going to slowly pour it in and make sure that you don't get it, make sure that the oil's not touching the clothespin. You don't really want it touching the wood. But just slowly pour it in, and then I wash these when I'm done, and this goes in the compost pile. Then when you strain it, so on this one, this will be strained May the 13th. So when I come back and strain it, then you can just use it. You can put it on your skin. You can put it on your chest to relieve an unproductive chest cough. Routine breast massage. Think green, not think pink. It's better to be, instead of breast cancer awareness, I want breast health awareness. So think green, not pink. Lymphatic massage, just is really nice for lymphatic massage. If your nostrils get really dry in the winter from dry, warm air in the house, it's nice in the nostrils. So all kinds of things like that. And You can use it straight. Now, if you want a salve, a lot of herbalists make salves. I make one called Juniper Salve, and it's really nice. It smells like a forest. It smells like Christmas. And the oil, when you strain it, is like liquid Christmas. It's also nice for meditation oil. Pour it in your hands, do your deep breathing like this. It's very nice. So, we have enough here. I'm probably going to make a couple quarts. We're really trying to get a bunch of oil made before we lose our frost. We probably have a couple more frosts coming, so we're probably going to make about maybe 8 quarts or so for us and for our website. And now the last thing is I want to show you the facial steam and the lung steam. So let's go do that in the house. So I brought the water up to boil, and I'm letting it cool down just a little bit. And we've been harvesting juniper needles and have them all snipped up for the oils, but I'm going to steal a few for a steam. So what I'm going to do is just throw a little bit in there, not too much, and we're going to let it sit for about 2 or 3 minutes. All right, so I'm going to take the lid off in just a second. What I'm going to do is, now if I have a dry cough and it's unproductive and I can't cough anything up, then I want to use the steam. If I'm coughing up a lot of stuff, obviously I don't want to add any more moisture to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to breathe out very deeply and then breathe in and hold it for a few seconds and breathe out. And what I'm doing is I'm introducing the anti-microbial essential oils, the volatile oils that release in the steam into the lungs, help to moisten the lung lining, and opening up my nose. It feels so good in the throat, but I'm also giving myself a facial. So I'm opening up the pores, loosening the dirt. So what I'm going to do is steam for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then we'll move on to our facial. Can you smell that?
I do.
Smells good. Now you can also throw like garlic in here, sage, you know, whatever. All right, I'm going in, folks. This steam was too good not to waste. Aisho had to hop in and get some of his. How's that feeling?
Oh, yeah. Open me up.
Nice.
Last time I got sick like this, it totally kicked the sicknesses.
Anyway, boy, that felt really good. My lungs needed that. I actually have had a very dry, unproductive cough, so I'm hoping this will help. So now that my pores are open and my face is nice and moist, I'm going to go ahead and I make this face cleaner. It's an oil that helps keep the pH balance, and it's got rose petals to cool and soothe, and yarrow to kill the bacteria that causes acne. So I'll just put a little bit of this on. Oh, my face feels so good. And then just rub it in for a few minutes. So I just rub this in for a few minutes. That smells good. Boy, it's olfactory bonanza today with the juniper and the rose. And then I'll just wipe it off. And now I will add a little bit of the butter. So we make a face butter with the rose hips and all kinds of herbs for the skin. There's no water in it, so it won't mold. It doesn't need preservatives and all that junk in it. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit of this on. You don't need much, just a little bit. And the reason I'm doing this now with the water is because this has sunflower lecithin in it, and that's going to pull the moisture under the skin. And so the lecithin combined with the water will make this a super moisturizer. This is my new one, vanilla. So I've got rose, vanilla, and juniper going, and it smells divine. So now that the face butter is on, I'm going back in to super hydrate, super moisturize my skin. And I hope all of you try this at home. It is just a delicious way and a very cheap way to treat yourself.